What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is me, Ryan, from the Nostalgia Factor here, back again with another little nostalgic blast review. It's been some time since we've done another review here on the channel, guys, but without any further ado, let's get straight into our review of Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the PS1. Joining me today for this review, which is something that I've been looking forward to for a little while now, is my friend GameOnGNT. You guys know him from past videos and reviews we've done, so before we get into this any further, you guys will be seeing his part of the review later on in the video after I talk about my thoughts. Go and check out his channel, link in the description down below, and show this man some support because he puts a lot of effort into his videos, and I think you guys might enjoy what he does. Now, for a little bit of backstory, Castlevania Symphony of the Night was produced in 1997 by a little company you guys might know as Konami. You know, the guys who make Yu-Gi-Oh! And whatnot. But basically, the Castlevania Symphony of the Night was a huge turn for the Castlevania series, not just because a member of the Belmont family wasn't the main character in this game, rather it was Alucard, the son of Dracula, but the entire gameplay formula and overall just atmosphere to the game was completely retconned whenever this team started developing this game. Just for some initial thoughts straight off the bat, guys, Castlevania Symphony of the Night is a beautiful game. This game, by far, has one of the best graphics on the PS1 that I personally played out of all the games I've ever owned and or reviewed here on the channel. This game is by far one of the most beautiful and musically inclined. The people who worked back in 1997 back on this game did an amazing job with such scores such as Dracula's Castle and Dance of Gold, two of my favorite tracks from the game. And the musical composition is amazing. Castlevania is revered for that, as well as the amazing graphics and whatnot. It's just revolutionary. The fluid motion of Alucard, the animations with all the enemies, the different assortment of enemy varieties, over 140 different unique enemies in this game. And overall, just the game looks beautiful, and the music is amazing. There's not much else I can say about it that hasn't been said already. The story in this game is actually pretty simple for, a Castlevania game. This is actually a direct sequel to Castlevania Rondo of Blood, or Castlevania Dracula X, if you guys are familiar with that alternate title. But either way, this is a direct sequel to that, with Richter Belmont being the continuing Belmont from that game, where he goes missing after 4 years of the initial game, Rondo of Blood. And of course, Dracula's Castle comes back, which it shouldn't have. It should only come up every 100 years. But basically, Alucard, Dracula's son, awakens after a 300-year slumber and goes to take down Dracula once again, figure out what happened with this castle, and discover what happened to Richter. Now, you meet a number of characters throughout this game, and I gotta say, Alucard is by far, in my opinion, probably the best protagonist up to that point in Castlevania. I'd argue that he's probably one of the better ones throughout the entire series. I know a lot of people may disagree with me on that opinion in terms of the characters. A lot of people may prefer the earlier versions with the Belmonts and maybe even Richter himself, but to me, Alucard presents a more unique story, with Dracula's son, who's half human, half vampire, having a more moral reason to go after Dracula, and overall just having an amazing story arc, even in this little, story's not a huge emphasis on the game, but it is more a leading direction. But I think Alucard's unique for a lot of different reasons, besides the fact he's half vampire. Richter is great in this game. The only other main characters are Dracula himself, who rarely appears, which I think would have been better if he would have had a better implementation into the game itself. Because personally, Dracula only appears in like the first handful last minutes of the game, and he only appears in like a flashback at the first, at the beginning of the game. So Dracula's kind of underutilized. Maria in this game I think is unique, and continuing on from Rondo of Blood, but her character isn't all that great either in this game. It's just kind of there. Shaft the Priest, again, another underutilized kind of plot point, not really anything special there. So the characterization and the story isn't really anything amazing for a video game, but it is a good leading direction leading up to everything going on. For some side bits about the game that I really love, really unique things about this game that separate Castlevania Symphony of the Night from especially earlier Castlevania games of the time was the leveling system, which wasn't a thing where you could get different life upgrades, you could get heart upgrades for different sub-weapons that you can carry throughout the game. One of my personal favorites being the Holy Book or the Axe, two of my favorite sub-weapons to use in the game. There's a variety of them. Some of them kind of situational, some of them kind of useless. The Pocket Watch, for example, I never really found a use for, but you can use it to unlock some secrets in the clock tower, so there's that. And which leads me to, besides the sub-weapons, the secrets. Oh my gosh, the secrets in this game. There are so many hidden areas, breakable ceilings, breakable walls, many different places that you can go to find different hidden areas where you can find food, where you can find weapons, you can find shields, you can even find some familiars, which are little creatures, I suppose, that come and assist you throughout the journey, like the Sword and Demon Familiar, even the Ghost Familiar, I believe, that assist you in damaging enemies. Sword Familiar was my personal favorite. I even leveled him up to level 50. No joke. But other familiars such as the fairy, they heal you as long as you have those items in your inventory. She can't heal you, you know, by herself. You have to have the item and you have to find it. But the implementation of this new system that a lot of people are questionable about today, for some people, I think was a really great turn for the Castlevania series, and it certainly influenced it for years to come after that. And overall, there's just a lot of amazing things in this game from the past, even just skimming over the few things that I love about this game for this review to make sure it's not like 2 hours long, but overall, all that stuff is great. However, this game, as legendary and as amazing as it is to me, is not perfect. One of my biggest gripes with the game, which I'll get into in a second, I want to address something else first. The knockback in this game is absolutely terrible. The combat's very fluid, the animation is great, the different selection of weapons that you have and how overpowered that you can get in this game is absolutely amazing to do, and it's very addicting, but the knockback from enemies is a really, it's so annoying, especially like if you get knocked off a platform, you gotta platform all the way back up, or you get knocked off a huge ledge, and then, oh, yeah, it's, the Holy Chapel's a prime example of that, and the Clock Tower is very infamous for the Medusa heads that freeze you, they turn you to stone, you break out, you get hit, you get knocked down, you gotta climb all the way back up again. So the knockback's really a little bit unnecessary. I understand the need for it, but doesn't really need to be there. And another criticism that I kind of have is the voice acting. Now, this has been beaten to death on YouTube, and I won't go into it too much, but I kind of disagree on this at the same time. The voice acting is not the best. A lot of the actors sound like they're bored, although Alucard and Dracula I will give points for. They actually do a decent job with conveying the emotions throughout the different scenes in the game, but overall it's not the best by any means. However, at the same time, it's also not all that atrocious. It actually adds a layer of charm to the game that still holds true today. But I say to you people out there who think it's the worst voice acting in gaming, have you guys played Mega Man 8 recently? Now, one of my biggest gripes with the game, and probably my biggest, and I know something a lot of Castlevania fans share, is the inverted castle. Now, the inverted castle is a secret area that a lot of people back in the day didn't know about. It was an entirely, like, second half of the game with another 100% completion. It was basically the castle but upside down that you just went through in the game, which was amazing for the time, but everybody knows about it nowadays, so not really a huge secret. But after uncovering certain relics and whatnot and seeing through Shaft's illusion controlling Richter, you get the option to go to the inverted castle and fight a wide variety of unique enemies and whatnot, and overall, I think it's really great. The problem with the inverted castle is, well, I think it's a great idea and has a lot of great implementation, such as really cool boss fights, including Galamoth, which is the strongest boss in the game. The inverted castle with platforming and traversing it is terrible in some areas. I remember the one tower area that you have to go through on the outer wall. That was by far one of the more annoying areas for me personally. Not just because, you know, the platforming is so awkward, you have to use transformations all the time. Which, by the way, yes, transformations in this game. I neglected to mention that, but it's just one of the many things that you can do. Turn to a bat, wolf, and mist. But you have to use these transformations to traverse up this outer wall in the inverted castle, and many other areas. Is just annoying for platforming, and it's honestly not the best design choice at all. So going through is a pain, and getting the 100% completion for it isn't always worth it either. If you want to get the true ending, which honestly isn't that big of a difference compared to the other ending, if you still manage to unlock the inverted castle and don't really explore it, it's not really going to cost you too much there. It's annoying to try and get the completion, especially in the caverns where you have to swim up and be pixel perfect with completing it all. So in short, while the inverted castle is great, and I think it has a lot of great qualities, it's not perfect by any means. The platforming is annoying, the completion is atrocious at times, and overall, some of the enemy placements and enemies themselves just don't mix. Overall, however, this has been my thoughts on Castlevania Symphony of the Night. For all the issues this game does have, especially in the latter half of the inverted castle, this is by far probably one of my favorite games ever by this point. I've put many hours into this game so far, and this brings so many good things to the table, being a great PS1 game, and I think it honestly deserves all the praise that it gets. It also deserves all the criticism at the same time, mind you, but at the same time, though, at the end of the day, this is an amazing game, and if you haven't played it, pick it up and play it. I highly recommend you do. So either way, guys, that's my thoughts on it. Now, with my segment out of the way, let us get into GameOnGNT and see his thoughts.
Back in the year 2000, I remember stopping by the local variety store during my first year of high school. At that time, I was searching for something to buy, maybe a snack, maybe a drink, I don't know. But what I came across was in the bulk game bin. There for $20, I found one of the best games for the PlayStation 1. I didn't know what to get back then, but clearly this was greatness. This was Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Symphony of the Night was a turning point for the Castlevania series, changing most of the series that would follow and being the defining example of all Metroidvanias to come. This could be seen as a better or worse for the Belmont family saga. On one hand, gone was precision timing attacks, hard as nails difficulty, and endless pitfalls of classic Castlevania games. It's also a direct follow-up to Rondo of Blood, which was one of those classic Castlevanias. What Symphony introduces is exploration, non-linear level designs, save points, stat-based gaming found in RPGs, and, of course, a leveling system. Long story short, this game is fantastic. Art style is great, story is superb, and Alucard feels extremely good to play as. Also, taking the best examples and the best elements from Metroid games was the best thing Konami could do to tune up one of their freshest and more popular series. Sure, the voice acting is corny, and there are some random drops that can really sequence break the early game, but that's part of its charm. So instead of taking the usual approach of reviewing this game, here's a rapid-fire list of some of my favorite things from Symphony of the Night over the years. 1. Symphony of the Night basically changed the entire art style of Castlevania as a whole, with all designs taking a Shonen style and looking like something out of Interview with a Vampire or Bram Stoker's Dracula. Honestly, this was a good thing. 2. Boss fights. Oh man, the bosses in this game are great. Standouts include Dracula's final form, Galamoth, Legion, and of course, the first boss of the game, Gaibon and Slagra. 3.
Die, monster! You don't belong in this world!
4. It served as a huge influence for the Netflix Castlevania series. Character designs, artwork, and tone all took influence from this game. Considering how good the Netflix series is, it really shows. And 5. It marked Alucard's return to the Castlevania series. Following Symphony of the Night, Alucard reappears in Aria of Sorrow, Dawn of Sorrow, Lords of Shadow 1 and 2, and the unfortunate Judgment fighting game, and less said about that, the better. Also, he's in Smash Bros. Ultimate, where he'd be better as a playable character, but I digress. Long story short, if you haven't played Symphony of the Night, you have to. This game is incredible. Plus, there's about 5 different systems you can buy it on at this point. It's well worth your time. I'm Jeff Johnson from GameOnGNT, and JJ Plays Everything. Thanks for watching.
And that is going to be all from me, ladies and gentlemen. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video and this episode of Nostalgic Blast. I really wanted to cover Castlevania for a while now, and thank you to GameOnGNT for being on the channel. It was really great, man, honestly. If you guys want to go check out his channel, check him out in the description down below, and show him some support. And let us know what you guys think about Castlevania Symphony of the Night in the comment section down below, about all our criticisms, about all our praise, about just all our thoughts in general. Let us know what you think in the comments, as we always want to know what you have to say. If you did enjoy this review, though, be sure to give it a big old like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, if you want to catch our future videos coming your way as always. And comment down below once again what you thought. Until next time, Nostalgics, however, this has been Ryan from the Nostalgia Factor saying, keep on gaming.